So this year was a year which I didn't see coming. One that changed my life in so many ways. We begin back in January, where I promised myself one last year of trying to make it as a content creator. I needed validation that I can do it, that I'm able to stay consistent and somehow inspire others. It was a slow month for sure, but it was through experimenting with my content where I finally developed a style that was very me and others found entertaining. Today was Sunday, but this was not my typical Sunday, because this morning I woke up next to a girl, which is pretty unusual. And then came February, the month of the New York trip. It was always going to be a big deal for me because it was my first time in America, and there was this feeling that I could potentially make it there. I even messaged friends prior to the trip that the NYC content would blow. I wasted no time and made a video on the first day, and even though it would get traction, it wasn't the overnight success that I thought it would make, something which I was about to learn. I learned that you can't force success. I was making content that I was expecting to be viral instead of being natural and making content purely for my passion. It was at this point I just went with the flow and I filmed wherever, whenever, and I stopped thinking about the finished product of the video and never thought of filming stuff to make a video as a whole, which was working really well. And then I made this video. A video I made while chilling in the hotel room.
Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
And a video which I found myself on this little niche called Film Talk, full of content creators that would later become friends. The video seemed to go viral on TikTok and I was watching my follower count go up to 4,000, a number I never thought was possible for me. Now, it's never about the numbers, sure, but there was just something about it that just kept me motivated and really keep on going. It was almost like an addiction, feeding my creativity. With a backlog of New York videos on my hard drive, I was pumping out the New York content even when I got back to London. But then it was this next video that was about to change my life, this butterfly effect from this one sound.
Bing bong, bing bing bong, bing bong, bing 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 bong. Bing bong, bing bing bong, bing bong, bing bing bong, bing bing.
That video was a last minute video, and it honestly took me 10 minutes to make. I was actually watching the Real Madrid football game until Daiki suggested I make a video to the sound, which I wasn't going to, but I did, and I just finished watching the game and went to bed. What I never knew was I was going to wake up to the sound of. This was crazy seeing the comments, then various creators that I looked up to started to follow me. And to top it all off, the king of New York content himself commented on the video. And this was nuts. This was when my drive went into overdrive. My creativity stimulated, fired up like never before. It was here where I learned I couldn't and shouldn't let my perfectionist self stop me from posting. It would have been a blocker to this flowing passion. I made content on everything. I even made content on my birthday. And then I had my first ever brand deal, which was for Lipton iced tea. And the first time I realized I could monetize my passion. Being from a Filipino background, our creative passions were purely just that. It was just a hobby. It could never be taken seriously by parents because these were never traditional. But I remember after telling my mum about the brand deal, then telling her how much it made, the next day the fridge was full of bottles of Lipton iced tea. This is when I realized it's not that our parents don't support what we do, they just want us to be safe and stable. And typically, it's these traditional or corporate jobs that keep us in a safe bubble that they want us to be in. They truly only have our best interests in mind, and unfortunately in this world, money controls that safety. But I would never forget the day my parents were proud of my creative endeavors. Just like the Lipton in the fridge, after a Pull & Bear brand deal that I did, my dad was taking pictures to every Pull & Bear store that was in Spain. As my Instagram started growing, then came more brand deals, which meant more contracts and more paperwork, and more importantly, more conflict on how much I value myself. I was never really in it for the money, and I never really valued myself to that high of a degree. I remember being told by fellow creatives that I shouldn't be charging £100 per video because it was way too low, but no one really told me how much I should charge, which just left me even more confused. And alas, capitalism has entered a room where my passions lie. I wasn't complaining though, I was just enjoying the journey and the creative tasks brand deals put me in. I was blessed to have done brand deals for big brands at such an early point, from Odeon to Eurostar and Universal. And then came my dream brand. I wish I captured my reaction to that email. It was almost as if I climbed Everest. As a Sony shooter, it was all I ever wanted, and I was just so blessed to have done it this early. The following months were just more in the same, balancing my day job as a developer and this new life as a content creator. The summer months, I was able to travel to new and exotic places like Marrakesh, Lake Como, and Margate. I was also lucky enough to be able to celebrate my 8-year anniversary of Hannah in Lisbon, one of the best cities we've ever traveled to, and of course, make content in. Then around that time came one of the biggest changes in my life this year, and that was when I signed to Shift. Balancing life was getting hard, and I never knew how much paperwork and emails went into brand deals. I was getting to a point where I needed help. So in came Chloe, who has been the best manager ever, along with Sydney, Marley and Adam, a team which I'm forever going to be grateful for and for allowing me to join their most wholesome family of creatives. I've been so grateful to do brand deals with them, such as Ibis, Sky and Google Pixel, which was crazy to me because I still remember the day when I first brought the original Google Pixel, and then being sent a new Pixel 8 left me feeling like I finally made my lifelong dream of being MKBHD. Approaching the end of the year, I reached milestones like doing my first ever panel, 100k followers on TikTok, 80k on Instagram, and even a viral sound.
Can I call you Rose? Cause you're sweet like a flower in bloom. Can I call you Rose? Can I call you Rose? Cause your fragrance takes over the room.
The holiday season then came and was going to be the busiest time at work and, to be honest, in general. And for some stupid reason, I decided to start daily vlogging for 50 days, which is still going and this video is part of. I never realized how rewarding yet hard daily vlogging is. On some days it was so hard that it left me pretty checked out mentally and burnt out physically, to the point where I basically forced myself to take a break. I would normally call myself a failure in doing so, but this year I learned how to forgive myself. I learned a lot about myself this year, many strengths that I never knew I had. It's been such a great year, fast-paced throughout, that a slower end was welcomed. Though I guess with how life normally is, it never is perfect. On Christmas Day, my Lola died. Growing up in the Philippines, she practically raised me, and being gone has left a big hole not only in my life, but my whole family. I would tear a little when I'm going back home from the Philippines and saying goodbye to her when boarding the plane. So I was in tears when I heard she passed. And to be honest, it still hasn't sunk in properly yet, and emotionally, I'm a wreck right now. But I know I'm happy that she's finally resting, and I will forever be grateful for the life that she lived and the love that she gave. Speaking of being thankful, dear followers, or should I say friends, did I ever say thank you? Even then, I don't think a thank you is enough, nor a gift or a hug, because I owe you all so much. And this is not a thank you for pure politeness, but it's a thank you in all gratefulness. And this digital thank you isn't even enough to capture all of that. Thank you for sending messages, some of the kindest that I've ever received, and thank you for telling me you're inspired because you inspire me back. Thank you for being empathetic, and thank you for understanding all these silly little videos and jokes I make, because it makes me feel like there are others just like me. Thank you for making some dreams a reality, and thank you for keeping me going and staying consistent. You know, when I'm feeling down, one of the things that helps me get back up is thinking about creating content not only for myself, but for you. Thank you for supporting me this year. Whether you were one of the first 1,000 back in March, or one of the recent 80,000 now, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Hopefully one day I'm able to say it in person, but for now, here's a digital but heartfelt thank you. And that brings us to the 31st of December, New Year's Eve and the Sunday of all Sundays. Looking back at this amazing year has been blessed. Truly an amazing year in my life. A year that has changed my life in many little ways and changed me as a person. But one thing that hasn't changed is how last minute I leave these edits. But how fitting is it that I finish this video as I'm about to finish the year. I'm still uncertain of what's to come, except that it's going to be an even greater coming year. And another year that will change it all again.